Hello there! Today I'm going to show you how I avoid bubbles when casting flowers upside down. If this is something you're interested in learning more about, stay tuned. Hello again and welcome back to my channel. My name is Courtney and I'm a flower preservationist, educator, and business coach sharing all of my tips and tricks for building and growing your flower preservation business. One of the biggest frustrations in the world of flower preservation is bubbles, especially when we are working with flowers and molds that are upside down. In a right side up mold, you are able to see bubbles forming within your flowers and can easily pop them when you pour or puncture them and fill them with resin in the next layer. But when you're working upside down, there's no way for you to see any bubbles forming, much less be able to get rid of them or fill them. I have been there many times and I understand your frustration. So today I am going to share with you how I work with flowers upside down and avoid those pesky bubbles altogether. Let's head out into the workroom and get started. All right, so here we are I'm going to show you how I'm going to flood this flower to put upside down into this sphere mold. This is a modern mold, shop sphere mold that I've got. I've already poured in what I like to call a tip layer. So it's kind of hard to see, but you can see it goes up to about here, and like that's the top here of the sphere. So I've just kind of put a tip up there. That just helps to make sure that if by chance there is any silica left in here, that it won't like pool at the very top of the sphere. There's a layer underneath it that will hold it next to the flower so you can't see it. So little tip there, but I've already got that layer going. I've mixed up my resin. I do use KS resin for this, so it doesn't matter that it's like super bubbly. Those will all go away. But basically what I do is I take the flower, make sure that you knock out all the silica that you can from it. And I'm going to just hold it. It's going to be a little tricky. These are always tricky. But I kind of just hold it by the little stem if I can. And then I'm going to pour a little bit of resin into the mold first just to kind of get a base layer for it to sit on. And then I am going to just flood the flower. Just pour all the resin into all the little crevices all around in the center of it. And then I am going to flip it over and put it into the mold. Just like that. And then a little bit extra of resin around the edge. Not all the way, but just a little bit. Just to kind of get around the edges there. And that's how we're going to do that. We're going to leave that. And then another way that I want to show you that you can also do it, you can take like an old, this is an AAJ mold, wine stopper mold. And you can actually take your flower and just set it on top of it. And then you can basically just do the same thing. Just flood the whole top of the flower like this. And what it will do, sitting on top of the ring holder, the wine stopper holder, is that the resin will just sink down into all of the crevices of this flower and basically block all of the little holes where any air could pop up while it's curing later. So we're just essentially flooding the whole flower, getting all the nooks and crannies in there. And then you might be saying, like, why don't you just put it on the table to do that? Well, if you look over here, if I have my cameraman move the camera over, you can see how it's like pooling on the table like that. That will happen literally all the way around the flower, and you'll just have this big puddle of resin. And we don't want that. This way it will drip all the way down and you can just cut the excess off the back of it. So I learned that the hard way. So I'm just going to finish filling this up. And then we will let both of these sit and cure for 24 hours and come back to them. Okay, so this is 24 hours later. You can see kind of how I was telling you yesterday, how you have this whole big like spill right here. So that's why we put it up top, so that we can just very carefully take that off and you have a much smaller spill. essentially, much cleaner. So you don't have to worry about cutting any excess off or anything. You can still use this. But the only thing about doing it this way is you do kind of have to do it more than once if you want to make sure that it's filled completely before placing it upside down. So you can do this the first time to kind of just seal up all the edges, which you can see all this here doesn't always get all of them, so that's, you can keep going. Or at this point, since you've got it sealed, you can essentially put it upside down. So I'm just gonna kind of finish what we did yesterday and finish off my little sphere here. I'm not going to fill it completely since this is just like a sample and I'm kind of showing you how to do it. But it's going to be like half of a sphere. And then I'll use the rest of this to just finish filling. So like I said, you can either flip it over, but if you don't want to do that and just really make sure that you don't have any air bubbles, you can continue filling this. You can see how the resin is actually like just staying in there versus seeping through this time because the bottom is completely sealed. So you'll just fill this up. You can see some of the bubbles coming out, so it's still going into all the little nooks and crannies that it needs to. And then basically just do what we did yesterday and let it sit again. All right, I'm gonna go ahead. I did end up pouring a little bit more in here just because I had leftover resin the other day, but I'm still not gonna fill it up totally, but we'll go ahead and pop it out so you guys can see how the flooding went. I have to be a little bit strategic about taking this out since I didn't fill it up all the way. There we go. Sideways. There it is. Right, so you can see no bubbles on the inside. Pretty cool. So there you have it. The best way to flood flowers and eliminate bubbles when working upside down. I hope this video was helpful, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more tips on growing your flower preservation business. And as always, if you ever have any questions about what I discussed today or want to learn something specific, let me know in the comments and I can create a video for you. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you next time. Bye.